Grown Folks Production.
In the mix.
With the commish, Nate.
And just like that, welcome to Press Pass Live. Let's turn that down just a hair. Welcome to Press Pass Live, your weekly OMFL podcast show, the world's oldest and longest online CFM. Welcome in. Thanks for hanging us out. It is playoff time. I am your founder and commish, Nate. Let me welcome in the commish of the Deuce, which is turning into the Dynasty, Mr. Maniac. How you doing today, bud?
I'm doing wonderful, man. I am excited to get in the playoffs and see what happens.
You sound depressed.
I am depressed because I know my team's going to be one and done. We've been struggling in the season, and I think the old fat lady singing for them Falcons, they're about roasted and toasted. But man, there are some good games that's going to happen, though. I guarantee you, there's going to be some big names in this playoff that we're used to seeing, and there's going to be some big matchups.
What's up, Daniel? What's up, Dwayne? Thanks for hanging out with us. So Falcons and Cowboys up next right after Press Pass Lab. Neither one of us have a lot of time, so we're going to jump right into it. Week number 17. You want to go ahead and do our little recap of how we ended the season here?
Let's do it, man. I could talk about the Cowboys and the Falcons game, but I'm not going to do that because, man, them Cowboys demolished them Falcons. There was quite a few games, and again, because we're kind of strapped for time, there was a couple that were big implication games, and I'll kind of touch on those. One was the Chargers and the Raiders that had implications for the AFC West. Another game that kind of had implications for that was also let's see. For seeding was Orlando. They needed to go ahead and get rolling with a couple of wins since they were on vacation on cruising, and so he needed to get a couple wins to end the season, hopefully to finish with that number one seed, and he did get a win here. But the game I want to talk about and look deeper into was this game that I just mentioned before, the Chargers and the Raiders. Looking at this, it was a pretty high-scoring game. The Raiders, if you've followed them this season, they have definitely improved their offensive output, and their defense has definitely improved for the most part of the season, but they did struggle down the stretch, and it did show. One thing, looking at this, is looking at the offensive rushing yards, the Raiders were only able to put up 78 rushing yards in this game. Chargers had 156, so anytime you're having to kind of be one-dimensional, it usually kind of plays against you, and it looks like that may have kind of happened here with the Raiders. He did have 387 passing yards to 290 to the Chargers. First downs, man, the Raiders had 26 first downs to 18 to the Chargers. Turnovers, though, big difference here. 6 for the Raiders, 2 for the Chargers. Third down conversions, both with 5. Red zone offensive percentage. The output here was in favor of the Raiders, but they also had some penalty yards against them, and sometimes that can play against you as well. So looking at the player stats, we had looked like we possibly had one of the quarterback for the Raiders got hurt because we got a backup that's also got significant amount of playing time, looks like. So Walter did have 20 of 36, 55%, 2 of 4. Maybe he just put him in because he was throwing so many picks, but 287. We've seen him come over from Minnesota and actually did a really good job for the Raiders, kind of helped them get revamped in their offensive set. But Zach Whitfield, the rookie, came in 7 of 9, 77 completions, had a touchdown and interception. So possibly this guy right here may be importing over into the next Madden. Akers, Mr. Akers, getting the yards and 17 carries, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's been the workhorse for the Chargers. Look for him to be a name that you see in the playoffs from the Chargers. Jacobs only had 60 yards and 14 carries, but he did get into the end zone. Looking at receiving yards, Frederickson. This guy has been a playmaker for the Chargers all season long. He's been one of the better wide receivers coming out of the drafts, and we've had some good ones. 6 for 184 yards. Did have a long of 96, but he didn't get in the end zone. So somebody didn't give up on the play and made a tackle to save a touchdown. Michael Meyer, the tight end, 7 catches, 122 yards, and a touchdown.
I think we had an FPR break in here somewhere. I am just glancing, but it looks like the Vegas Raiders broke that tight end rule.
You know the rules, and so do I. Say goodbye.
We got to be better than that.
I always have a problem finding these FPR games for some reason, but
you do have a good habit of doing that.
Pleasance, the rookie wide receiver, he actually had a really good season. 6 catches, 92 yards in this game. Quentin Johnson also had 2 touchdown catches out of 6 catches for 83. So a lot of guys did get the ball, but yeah, like you said, need to watch those FPR. Defense, Lamar Simmons was getting it done. This is one of the higher tackle totals that I've seen out of any game that we've called. 14 tackles from the middle linebacker here for the Raiders. 1 for a loss, so he was busy. The Chargers, DeAndre Taylor, the middle linebacker, had 9 sack leaders. We only had 1 sack in this game. Crosby had the lone sack. And then all those turnovers, we're looking at Robert Wall, strong safety from Wisconsin, second-year player, 3 interceptions in the game, so he was all over the backfield for the Chargers. Clark Phillips, a guy that I'm familiar with, I had to let him go, couldn't keep him on the cap for the Falcons, but he had a pick in this game as well. CJ here for the Raiders, he had 1, and Asante Samuel Jr. had 1, and then Justin Reed, the free safety, had 1 for the Raiders as well. But like I said, this game played a big part, though, into what happened with the Chargers. It helped them solidify their stake to claim in the playoffs, and so it was a good game all around, looked like, except for FPR.
Yeah, that Lions-Cardinals game also could have been one that you talked about. 1-point victory for the Cardinals to knock the Lions out of their playoff hopes. Looking at week number 18, not a lot of games left to be decided, but I want to go and pick on a team that we talk a lot about, and that is the Carolina Panthers. You could have also, just kind of glancing at these, talked about Philadelphia with a big win. That had nothing sort of to do with the playoffs and how those ended up playing out. Pittsburgh with a 1-point win over Jacksonville. Miami with a 3-point victory over the Jets. I think that might have been, no, that wasn't played at all. Tennessee, 3-point win over the Raiders. Arizona blowing out Minnesota. San Francisco blowing out the Rams. Denver blowing out the Chargers. Man, there's just a lot of big-time blowouts, but there was really one game that I feel like meant really anything, and that was Toronto and the Panthers. Mr. Bill and the Mounties, I was counting on him, but Bird was able to get it done here, scoring 14 points in the first quarter, 10 points in the fourth quarter to put this one away. 338 passing yards for the Mounties. That is not what Bill does, okay? He runs the ball. He just couldn't do it today, only 67 yards on the ground. Bird and the Bills, though, Bird and the Panthers with 141 yards on the ground. Just total yards, 452 to 405, fairly even there. 6 third down conversions and a time of possession that went slightly to the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young getting it done. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 250 yards passing. Givens a pretty good day. Luke Givens, 338 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, but the 2 interceptions. Nobody really doing it big on the running game. It was the combination of Harris and Stockton, though, that combined for the good rushing yards for the Carolina Panthers today. Darnell Mooney, right here from Tulane University in New Orleans, 13 receptions, 180 yards. The guy could not be stopped. Shark had 5 for 94 from LSU. Mingo, 4 for 84. So a lot of guys having pretty good days. And then taking a quick look at the defense, Edmonds, 9 tackles, 2 of them for a loss. The sack leaders was Holiday with 1.5. And then your interceptions came from Andrews and Cole for the Carolina Panthers. And those 2 interceptions ended up being big as Carolina gets the victory, gets that last wild card spot. Meant the Saints game meant absolutely nothing. Not that it probably would have mattered anyway. Panthers are in, and that leads us to talk NFL, OMFL playoffs for season 110. But before we do it, let's go ahead and bring in Mr. Denbrew. Let's see what Mr. Denbrew's got to do with some OMFL news. Denbrew, take it away.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Denbrew, and this is the OMFL News Playoff Edition. Let's get into some matchups, take a look, some brief comments, and see what we got going. Up first, Panthers at Seahawks. Those Seahawks are your NFC West champs. They average about 36 points per game and only give up 21. That's the second highest point differential in the league. Those Panthers are on a nice roll, winning 6 in a row, and they are 7-1 on the road as they got to travel to Seattle. So let's not count out the Panthers. Chargers, Jets. Jets are your AFC champs. The Chargers at 12-5 go on the road to face the Jets, and the Chargers come at you with a nice rushing attack led by Cam Akers, and they feature Colin Fredrickson in the pass game. With Kobe and the Jets, it's been a weird season. Kobe been super busy, not as involved as he normally is, but I can see him getting things cranked back up for the playoffs. So yeah, should be a good game there. Giants, Falcons. Falcons, your NFC South champs. The Giants and Falcons both finished at 13-4. The Giants did beat the Falcons. I think the Falcons had to travel to New York for that one earlier in the year, 24-20. So the Falcons will be looking to avenge that loss. Steelers at Broncos. Broncos are your AFC West champ. The Broncos did beat the Steelers all the way back in week 1 as a 13-10 final there, but you can throw the records out. That was a long time ago. It's playoff time. 49ers and Mounties. Mounties are your NFC North champs. The Niners travel to Toronto, to take on Bill and his Mounties. Obviously, Bill's got his hands full with D-Money. Everybody knows his legacy around here. So D-Money will be shooting for a little repeat of their Week 2 matchup when he beat the Mounties 41-21. That was in San Francisco. The last one we got, Desperados at Bengals. Bengals are your AFC North champ. The Bengals will be looking for their first playoff win of the entire cycle as they take on San Antonio for the 3rd time this season. And obviously, if you're going to beat the Desperados, you got to stop the 1-2 punch of at receiver, Eli Barkley, and that talented running back the Desperados have in Allen. That's all for segment 1. Going to send it back to Nate and Maniac. See you.
Thank you, Mr. Denver. If you think the 49ers are going to win OMFL Bowl number 110, hit the like button. If you think any other team, you're taking the field, hit the like button. Either way, you're going to hit the like button, and that's what I appreciate. Mr. Maniac, you ready to dive into the playoffs?
Let's do it, man.
I don't know why I had it messed up. I thought you were playing Dwayne and the Cowboys. You're not. He's the number 1 seed. You're playing Colin and the Giants, but we're going to talk about them in a little bit. Looking over here, the number 1 seed is going to be the Condors. So the Orlando Condors and Bronco Man getting that number 1 seed back. He is the NFC South Division champs at 14-3 in that number 1 seed. The Broncos, the number 2 seed. I don't think anyone would have said preseason the Broncos were going to be the number 2 seed. He is the NFC or the AFC West Division champions at 13-4. The number 3 seed was the Jets at 9-7, the East Division champs. Bengals, the number 4 seed. I think I called that one at 10-7, the North Division champions. Here are your wild cards. The Chargers at 12-5 is the number 5 seed, and the number 6 seed, the Desperados at 10-7, and the number 7 seed, the third wild card, the Steelers at 9-8. That's going to set up Condors waiting on everybody. Broncos, Steelers, Bengals, Condors, Jets, and Chargers. Let's talk about that first one, Broncos and Steelers. Who wins this one and who moves on?
Man, both these guys have actually played a lot better this season. We've seen that both had kind of struggled, more particularly with the Broncos. They've struggled this whole cycle, seemed like. But he has, in the past, shown like the last cycle, he's made it to an OMFL Bowl. He's turned the last season into a season where he really pushes all in and makes a push for the playoffs. And
something about the last season and that guy.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about it. I don't know. He just figures it out, or finally takes time to sit down and say, okay, this is how the game works, and this is how I can get to the playoffs. But he just, I don't know, like the last 2 or 3 Maddens, it's been the same thing. The Broncos make a big push last season, and I think 2 out of those 3, he's made the last OMFL Bowl to represent the AFC. I don't think he's won, but he has at least made it there at least one time that I can recall. But in this game, I think, looking at the matchup, I think where the Steelers probably have the advantage, and I know they're the 7th seed, but I think his pass rush and his defense is just a little bit more seasoned than the Broncos. And I think if you look back to this season where he has struggled is against teams that have a more superior defense. And so I know the Steelers playing in the AFC North, that is from top to bottom is a strong division. And so I just see that he's probably going to have the advantage here, and I think he's going to make that young quarterback of the Broncos, who has done a really good job, Quaker, but I just see them actually making him make the mistake, and I see this game coming down to it's going to be a close game, I believe, but I see the Steelers coming out like 27-17.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about either of these teams. And so I'm going to give the Broncos credit for where credit is due. He is 13-4. Cincyberg has been sort of all over the map this Madden cycle, making runs, deep runs. Will not shock me if he goes on another one here. He knows how to win in the playoffs. He knows how to play well. But we've also seen him sort of have seasons that sort of turned on him really hard, and he got really high picks because of that. He sort of snuck into the playoffs here at 9-8. I'm taking the Broncos. They're playing better football in this moment. It will not shock me, though, if Cincyberg does what Cincyberg does and makes a run here. I'm taking the Broncos just on facts of he's played really well this season, got the run game going, got a quarterback playing pretty well, but playing some really good defense for the Broncos. I like the Broncos in this one to move on. Now let's turn our attention to the Bengals and Condors. Number 3 seed Bengals, number 6 seed, not Condors, sorry, Desperados. The Buddy Bowl number 3. It is so hard to play teams 3 times and to get 3 victories. I don't know if they split. I don't know what their record was. I wish I had that kind of time today to go do all this homework, but it did not. What I do know about these 2 guys is they have traded punches this entire Madden cycle, and the Desperados have been right on the edge. He did come up just barely short. He ended up tying the Bengals for the division lead at 10-7, came up barely short in winning that division. I've been putting my money on Denbrew every single season, and every single season he's been letting me down just a little bit. I'm taking the Desperados just for that fact. I think that it's just really hard to beat somebody 3 times, and these guys know each other like the back of their hands, and the brothers that they are. I think the Desperados are going to shock them again, but I hope the Bengals prove me wrong. I keep putting my money on the Bengals. He keeps letting me down. I'm going to move my money over to the Desperados for this one. What do you see happening?
Yeah, speaking of the games between the Bengals and the Desperados, the first game they played of the season, the Bengals won 41-14, and then their second matchup, they played the Bengals won 27-13. So, looking at that though, just like you said, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a season. And the one thing that we saw the Desperados do, they beat D-Money. They've got one of the losses on D-Money this season, and so that's a big game that they can hang their hat on going into the playoffs. But playoffs are a different beast, and I'm kind of like you. I've picked the Bengals and Denbrew. He said he hasn't won a playoff game yet this cycle. Unfortunately, I'm going to go with that, and I'm going with my gut here. I'm saying the Desperados are going to win. I think the Bengals and Desperados, they are going to play, because these guys are buddies and they've played each other a lot. I think this is going to be a really close game, probably something that's going to be won on the leg of one of the field goal kickers here, and I think looking at this game, you're probably going to have like a 31, like the 28 score. It's going to be one of those great games, probably an OMFL classic from this season, this playoff.
I say Desperados picks off Burrow 4 times, and that's what leads them to a victory. Next up is going to be the number 4 seed Jets against the number 5 seed Chargers. I have, as much as I have no clue about the Steelers, I can't figure out the Jets this season. He's been so dominant and consistent. This has been a season where he's been slightly off. How do you see this one playing out?
This one, I think, looking at it, you've already kind of touched on it. The Jets, he's been off. In fact, I think one of the previous shows we talked about, had we ever seen the Jets have like a 4-game or 5-game losing streak, and we were like, never have we seen that. And so I think, though, he's made the plays when he had to. He obviously got into the playoffs. I don't know if he had some help with games that were sim that he got the win on, but I just think the Chargers, though, and we saw him last season, he was the represent on the AFC side, and I think the thing that helps the Chargers is their rushing attack. His rushing attack has been one of the best ones this Madden, and the consistent rushing attack, probably like up there with like the Dwaynes and the D-Monies, because I don't know, he's just had a really solid rushing attack with his team, and it plays well with the guys he has on his team, with the wide receivers that he has that can spread the field and get deep downfield, especially on play action passes, and so it just plays into his style, and I just don't think that the Jets, it's kind of one of those things, like, you can't be off and then just turn it on and make a run. You can, but I just don't see it, and I think the Jets are going to fall short in this game, and I think they're actually going to lose this game to the Chargers. Black Hats, again, with that rushing attack. I don't want to call like every game close. I do think this one's going to be a close game, because Kobe is just a very competitive player, and but I've also seen him struggle a few times this season, and so I'm looking at the Jets scoring 21 points and those Chargers scoring 31.
If you think that the Condors are going to win the AFC, hit the like button. If you're taking the field, you mean any other team but the Condors, reach down there, hit the like button. Appreciate all the support. If the Jets were not seeded by division winners first, they would have been the last seed in the number 7 seed. It says 9-7. I think they ended up finishing 9-8. I could be wrong about that. They might have been 10-7. The Chargers at 12-5 should be the number 3 seed, right behind the Condors and the Broncos. But Kobe has this way of turning it on when you get into the playoffs. It's like he flips a switch, plays really tremendous defense. I'm a little worried about Herbert in the playoffs against the Jets defense. Can he not turn it over and allow the Chargers to continue to establish that run game, which would lead them to a victory? My head says that Kobe's going to turn this on. They're going to get a big victory. But my heart says I've seen Black Cats turn it on, make deep runs, and he is a 13 win or 12 win team at 12-5. Give me the Chargers to win this one, but it will not surprise me at all if the Jets get a victory. In my scenario, I've got Broncos, Desperados, and Chargers winning. I think you've got Steelers, Desperados, and Chargers winning. Do I have that wrong?
That is correct.
There we go. So in my scenario, the Condors would then play the Desperados, and the Chargers would then play the Broncos. I'm going to start at the bottom here. Broncos, and this is where things get unraveled. They start getting really difficult. Broncos and Chargers, that's going to be a really good matchup. I still like the Chargers in that one. I think that run game, I think Black Cat's going to get on a bit of a rhythm here. Now, he has dropped some games that have been shocking this season, but I like Black Cats to get to his second AFC championship game this Madden cycle. So give me the Chargers to win that matchup, and then I would have Condors and I have Desperados. Desperados have been the team I've been waiting to get there. Me and you've talked a lot about them this entire cycle. I've just been waiting for them to get over the hump. The big play ability from the quarterback, the tight end, the receivers, the defense that is able to make plays and turnovers and turn them into points. I just think when you get into the playoffs, you start playing teams that play exceptional defense, really good run games, and if you're ever forced to pass the ball, it can lead to more turnovers than what you're used to. I like the Condors to win that matchup just because he's been there. I feel like he's gotten back to what made him win in the first season. So I've got an AFC matchup between the Condors and the Chargers. How do you see your divisional round playing out?
Okay, well, obviously, the Steelers are going to be the lowest seed, so they'll be facing the Condors being the number 1. And then the Chargers, Desperados would match up in my scenario. Starting with the Desperados and Chargers, I think both these teams play similar style on defense, but on offense is completely different. The Desperados are a team that likes to stretch the field deep with those wide receivers that he's got. Now, he does have the rookie running back that has added a new wrinkle to his offense. I think this season Allen has done exceptional well being a rookie coming into this team, and he has actually put up some really strong numbers for the Desperados. So that could be a really big factor for the Desperados to help them in this game against the Chargers. Again, the Chargers, though, really, you have to look at this team. They hang their hat on that rushing attack. But the Desperados also have one of the top rushing defense, especially that defensive line they have. They seem to just get after running back. I think all those things play a factor in this game. And I actually, in my scenario, I see the Desperados pulling out a kind of a shocker. I think both these guys, it could go either way, but I do think that Little Koch and the Desperados are going to get the win. But I think it's going to be one of those games that we see. They're kind of like the white elephant where in the OMFL where we see a lot of high scoring games, but this game I think is going to be a low scoring game, and I think you're going to see like a 20-17 victory by the Desperados, I think. And then that would bring the Steelers and Condors for the matchup there. Steelers again getting to this point. They have done a really good job. He does have, like 3 different running backs on his team. They're really good running backs, but he's really relied a lot upon his young single quarterback that he's got on his team. He's done well at times, and then he's struggled at times, and that's just kind of something that you have to take with a grain of salt when you have a young quarterback. It's Madden, and sometimes it seems like it just goes that way. You'll have stretches where you'll have several weeks where they don't play the way they should. Even some of the high-rated quarterbacks do the same way. But I think the Condors, though, have been really steady Eddie on the AFC side. They have put together their offense this season, their game plan, and they go in and they they perform it right to the letter. And he's and it shows with his record, and obviously being the number 1 seed, even with taking a cruise and being gone for like 2 or 3. So the Condors, though, I think they're just too much for the Steelers. I think this game gets away from the Steelers in the third, and you're going to look at probably this game going to be like a 41-27 victory for the Condors.
Nice. That's going to be some really good games. So you would have Condors, Desperados in your AFC Championship game.
That is correct.
And I'm going to have Condors and Chargers. I think I could be wrong about this. A rematch from the first season of this Madden cycle in the AFC Championship. I don't know, somebody can go fact check me. I'm pretty sure that might be right. I think the Condors, you said all the points. I don't want to repeat what you said. He has a game plan. He executes that game plan, and it works out really well for him. I think anytime we've seen upsets in the playoffs, it usually is around passing the ball, having turnovers, trying to overcome those turnovers. Whether it's bowl games that you and I get to call or some of the other games that sometimes we get to call, anytime we see a team jump out to a big lead, it's because of unexpected turnovers. And anytime a team comes back, it's because of unexpected turnovers. I am just simply picking with my heart here. I think that the Chargers are going to get, Bronco Man said divisional round season 2 of this cycle was Condors Chargers. I knew there was some kind of matchup in there somewhere, but I am picking with my heart here. I think Chargers are going to get an upset payback victory here. He has been trying to get to another championship game, and there is a big part of me that wants to see Buddy Bowl in the OMFL championship, D. Wayne versus his good friend Black Cats, and I am simply picking with my heart here because my head is like the Condors have been dominant. He executes. He sticks to his game plan. He has got all of those young energies out of him after a cruise with his wife. He is ready to be focused and to be a killer. There's something about Black Cats this season. I think he's got things figured out. It's going to be a great game. I think it'll come down to a field goal. Give me the Chargers in OMFL Bowl number 110 to represent the AFC. What do you see happening in your bowl game?
Oh, that's a good pick. This one would obviously be pitted between the Condors and Desperados. I think this would be the first time the Desperados make a little Koch would make it this far, I think, in the OMFL for as an AFC championship. But unfortunately, I think this is where the Cinderella story stops here for the Desperados. Again, I think this game will be the first half. You're going to see this game be really close, and I think it's going to be one that kind of, like you say, oh wow, the Desperados are, could actually pull this game out of the hat here, and but I think the Condors, again, like I said, what they do, how he game plans, I think you're going to see a couple mistakes because the Desperados do like to try to get the big play going, and I think one of those things are going to cause a mistake, and you just see it just kind of snowballs. And I see this game though going the Condors' way, and we're going to look at somewhere in the neighborhood like a 38-23 game. The Condors coming out on top, representing the AFC going into bowl one.
Absolutely will not surprise me if that is exactly how that plays out. The Condors have been such a great team. Let's bring in OMFL news number 2. And then we're going to jump over to the AFC or NFC. Golly, I can't get these letters right in my head today. We'll jump over to the NFC and see if we can't put a bow on this thing. I know we got a couple mailbag questions, but Maniac and I both got a full day, so we got to get this thing going. All right, Mr. Denbrew, take it away.
All right, we are back. Segment 2. Let's get into this week in sports history. Back in 1962, Jack Nicklaus wins his first major by beating Arnold Palmer. 1978, Ron Guidry sets the Yankees record for strikeouts with 18. 1992.
Ron Guidry from my hometown where I'm from. Kind of fun fact.
The Philadelphia 76ers
cool.
trade Charles Barkley to the Phoenix Suns. In this day in sports history, in 1994, the LAPD went on a pursuit of O.J. Simpson in the infamous Bronco chase that lasted about an hour and a half. And in 2010, the LA Lakers beat the Boston Celtics to a whopping 83-79 final of Game 7. Kobe Bryant was named your series MVP. That'll take care of this week in sports. Let's get to some brews and booze. How about a brew to all of the OMFL playoff teams and a special large 16-ounce, 22-ounce brew for D-Wayne and the Cowboys and Bronco Man and the Condors. Those two teams earned your number 1 seeds in their respective conferences. And how about a supersized brew for Nate for having us all around for another awesome cycle of Madden, regardless of how you feel about the game. It was another awesome cycle in the OMFL. Nate, much appreciated for having me around, and I'm sure everybody else feels the same. Regardless of how you feel about the game, the OMFL is the place to be if you like to play Madden. There are no other substitutes, in my opinion. You can fight me on that if you'd like. That's all I got. Segment 2's a wrap. Good luck to all the teams in the playoffs. Are we cranking up the toilet bowl? I haven't heard. Maybe a toilet bowl playoff going on. That's it, though. Back to Nate and Maniac. See you.
Please don't fight Denbrew. He's a very handsome fella. I don't want nobody messing that up or him messing you up. We don't need that kind of energy here in the OMFL. All right, over to the NFC. Cowboys 16-1. Your East Division champions. The Seahawks 16-1. Your West Division champions. Your Falcons 13-4. Your South Division champions. Your Mounties 10-7. Finally, a double-digit winner from the NFC North.
He turned it around.
He did. The 49ers, 13-4, the number 5 seed. The Giants, 13-4, the number 6 seed. The Panthers, 12-5, the number 7 seed. And AFC, I hate to call you out, but every single one of these guys would have been higher than 2 of the teams that made the playoffs over there. This is brutal over here in the NFC. So, let's go ahead and break this down. That sets up Seahawks, Panthers, Falcons, Giants, Mounties, 49ers. What a victory to win your division and then have to match up against a 13-win 49er team. That is pretty brutal. Or make the playoffs as the Panthers and face a 16-1 number 2 seed. That's also equally brutal. Let's start right there. Seahawks, dominant in a lot of aspects. Good quarterback, great receivers, great running game, very good defense, an offensive line that keeps the quarterback up. He's facing a pesky Panthers team that has had to fight and claw to figure out how to win this season, but turned it around to a 12-win season in season 110. They're going to match up. I'm seeing this one go to the 49ers only because I think Bird is still lacking some confidence. There's still, I feel like one mistake and the confidence sort of takes a turn. Bryce Young has played much better in these last couple of weeks. He needed to win, and Bryce played up to a winning formula. But when you're facing a 16-1 team in the Seahawks, they do everything well. You can't really pick apart anything that he doesn't do well from just name the aspect. He gets after the quarterback. He can turn you over. He can pass it. He can run it. And I feel like in the OMFL, when it comes to winning, you got to play great defense and you got to run the ball really, really well. The Seahawks do all of that really well. Panthers are going to stick to it, though. He's going to give him a game. I see this one getting away from him late in the third, early in the fourth. Seahawks are going to win this one by 10, giving the Seahawks to move on. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, this game's going to be an intriguing one. I'm looking back. These two actually did play in the regular season against each other. Week 7, and I thought they did, but I had to go back and check to make sure. This game actually was a 34-31 victory for the Seahawks, but it was a close one, and both guys played extremely well that game. So, could we see another game like that? Very likely. It could also go the opposite way, like you said too, because Bird, he has the same syndrome thing that I have. And a lot of us have, we're our worst enemy when it comes to playing games, because you get in your own head when something bad happens, and it's toast from there. But the Seahawks, he's been one of the better players, and if there's anything that you can say about being in a division with D-Money, Meek Boy, I think it has helped him become a stronger player, it seems, because he has really been kind of a thorn in the 49ers side this whole cycle when it comes to the 49ers just running away with a division. And we have not seen that because the Seahawks have been right there taking wins away from the 49ers, where they used to just kind of run through everything. And so this division's been one of the tougher ones, and I think the Seahawks have proved that they could realistically be the number one team here. I think the Panthers, though, you have to give them credit. Like you said, they didn't give up. They were kind of in a big hole about 7 weeks ago, and they put things together and turned things around and strung together a lot of good wins through that time span. But I just think that it's going to fall short here. I think the Seahawks are victory to move on, but I do see this game. Again, we talked about the first game going 34-31. I'm going to mark that down. It's going to be the exact same score in this playoff game, 34-31 Seahawks.
What's up, Bill? That moves us down to the Falcons and Giants, 3 seed versus 6 seed. Giants have been playing really good football this year. Run game has not fully been there at times. We've seen the pass game sort of be there. He gets his running back involved in the pass game, sort of really spreads it around. He attacks you vertically in the middle of the field and the out. He really attacks you in that pass game. On defense, at least in my game, he played some really good user. And if he plays user like that, he's going to cause some problems. Your Falcons, on the other hand, have ran the ball really, really well. Up and down, on again, off again relationship with Parker Colt. Have no clue how you're feeling about him as you move into the playoffs. But I think that run game mixed with some really good defense could pay really, really good dividends. You're at home, so you're going to have the crowd and the momentum on your side. I'm taking the Falcons to win this one in a really close one. Give me like a 23-19, 20 game, something weird like that. Give me the Falcons to win. Go ahead, tell us how you're going to lose this game.
You knew it was coming. I think it could go either way, but I just think that Colin right now, even though he's at 13-4, we're both the same record. I think he has just played a higher level of ball lately than I have. That one loss to the Cowboys record, that belongs to the New York Giants, and so I think that's going to go a long ways to help. I think that helped his confidence from that win through the rest of the season. I think because he only lost one game, I think, the rest of the way from after that win against the Cowboys. I could be wrong, but I want to say that's the culprit. But his quarterback seems to be on a whole nother level right now. We played about 4 weeks ago, in the schedule. It was actually a pretty close game, but it didn't feel as close as the score showed. His defense is a difference maker, and he just gets after the quarterback and makes. I think I think I told somebody, it might have been you. It seemed like at least 80% of my throws, everything it said under pressure, under pressure, under pressure. It was a havoc from that defense, and I just see the Giants having a better rounded roster. I know overall sometimes doesn't mean anything, but I think his overall team right now is like a 94 overall or 95 overall. So he's built a solid roster, and it shows in the games that he plays. Give me the Giants to take a 27-21 victory over the Falcons. I think my Falcons will play good, but there's been a couple of teams that have actually stopped that running game, and those Giants were one of them. The other team is also from the same division, so they both play similar, and so I think that's going to be the outcome that causes the ultimate demise of the Falcons.
I thought you weren't going to stop kissing Colin's neck there and pick a winner. Number 4 seed Mounties, number 5 seed 49ers. Bill, I love you. I've watched you take this team that a lot of fingers have been on, figure out how to win with them. But we all know that you are up against quite the mountain. Now, Bill, the owner, versus D-Money, the owner, absolutely. Those are two fairly close coaches. Of course, D-Money has the championships here, but Bill knows how to win. But I feel like Bill was most dominant at the Seahawks when he built that team up. And then when he had the Bills rocking and rolling, he just hasn't had enough time with the Mounties. I just don't see how he's going to be competitive in this one at all. So give me the 49ers to win this one. What do you think about the Mounties 49ers?
Yeah, this one's kind of a cut and dry. Even though I got to talk a little bit about Bill. He's done a good job with the Mounties. I think 4 or 5 weeks ago, whatever it was, we were talking about, it looked like he was going to give the division away, and then all of a sudden kind of went on a run and started figuring out some things. So congrats for getting the division win, and like you said, getting a double-digit division winner from this NFC North. The 49ers, though, D-Money is D-Money, and he'd do what he'd do. And so this game will probably, like most games with D-Money in it, it's going to get ugly in the second half. And look to see around the 40-21 victory.
For me, that's going to set up the number 1 seed Dallas Cowboys against the number 5 seed San Francisco 49ers, the number 2 seed Seahawks versus the number 3 seed Atlanta Falcons. I'm just going to think you're going on a run. I just think there's something about your just piss poor attitude about your team. Parker Colt's going to get red hot. Bijan is going to be unstoppable. You're going to start shocking the world, and you're going to tell us every week how you're not going to win. Seahawks are going to battle you. They're going to fight you, but there's going to be a late fumble. You're going to recover it. Give me the Falcons to win that game. I am strictly picking with the Holy Spirit here. That's what I think is going to happen. Dallas and the 49ers, I have no clue. I never have any clue when two top dogs meet each other. Dallas has not gotten over the hump in quite some time. D-Money has several championships again this Madden cycle. Dallas plays exceptionally well, but every big game that I've gotten to watch, and hasn't been a ton of them, there seems to be the one big turnover, the one big mistake, the one pass he's trying to fit in there ends up in a turnover, goes the other way, and they come just barely short. Give me the 49ers to win that one. 49ers, Falcons, OMFL, NFC Championship. I'm calling it right now. Dallas Cowboys fall. What do you think happens in your divisional round?
Well, the scenario that I have with the Giants winning, obviously they're the lowest seed, so they would be facing off against Cowboys, and then the 49ers being the 5th seed would face off against their division foe and the Seahawks.
Well, that'd be a good game.
It would be a good game, and this will be probably one of the better matchups, I think, in the playoffs leading up to this point. The Seahawks again have given a couple of blemishes to the 49ers in the regular season, but we've seen the 49ers in the playoffs kind of dominate the Seahawks. But I think this changes this season most of the time, and I think every time on this show I've always picked D-Money and watch he's going to get like really ticked off and like just start putting 60 points on everybody just to be show me wrong. I think this game.
Hey, you keep talking. I got to step out real quick. You keep going.
Yeah. The 49ers are going to fall to the Seahawks, though, here. The Seahawks, I think, have built a really rounded team, and I think they match up against the 49ers, probably one of the best on-paper matchups in the OMFL. Give me the Seahawks to squeak out a victory over the 49ers in this round. Give me a 24-21 victory over the 49ers and actually falls in the playoffs, not just stays home on vacation, but actually falls in the playoffs here in this game. Then that leads to the next matchup. We have Dallas Cowboys and Dwayne versus Colin and those New York Giants.
That'd be a good matchup, too.
Again, the only blemish to the Cowboys' record this season has come from the New York Giants. And I think this game is going to be a really good game, an intriguing one. I think Colin has actually figured out how to play Dwayne and has really changed how he attacks Dwayne. I've kind of seen a couple of his games where he played against the Cowboys, and it just seems like he seems completely different than what he used to. And maybe he's kind of figured out the formula to attack the Cowboys. But I think the Cowboys, again here, he's on a mission trying to get to another OMFL Bowl. And I think this game here is going to be another really close game. And I think this is going to be one of those ones where we're going to actually see the defenses make a kind of an appearance in the playoffs, and give me this game to be a 20-17 victory for the Cowboys.
So your NFC championship is Cowboys 49ers?
Cowboys Seahawks.
Cowboys Seahawks. I had to walk out on that one. We're having some work done to the house, and so somebody needed me. And hopefully they don't need me again, but they may need me again. I've got 49ers and Falcons. You have Dallas and Seahawks. I think 49ers are going to win that game. I think that's where the Cinderella story ends. Parker Cole gets picked off a couple of times as Mr. Maniac tries to push the ball down the field. Listen, thank you, buddy. Sorry. Real life is happening. I think the 49ers are going to represent the NFC in OMFL Bowl number 110. So I would have 49ers versus Chargers. I'm pretty sure that's the one that I had picked. So 49ers, Chargers. How do you see your NFC championship game going?
This is going to be the battle of the one-loss teams from season 110. So somebody's going to come out of this game with 2 losses to end the season. I think the Cowboys have been on the road back to the bowl. Dwayne, again, seems really focused. He's played really exceptionally well every game that I've watched. I mean, if you look at all his stats from every game, he's really won, except for that the Giant game has won in dominant fashion. There really hasn't been questions, I don't think, on any of most of the rest of the games. They may have been closer than what the final score said at one point, but he just seems to really dominate when he needs to. And I see the Cowboys getting the victory over the Seahawks. Again, this game is going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be defensive, but it's not going to be as defensive as we've seen the Cowboys versus the Giants. I think this is going to be the Cowboys winning this game 30 to give me 28 over the Seahawks.
And this is where it gets funky because rarely are we ever fully correct on the championship game. What's up, Birdman? I've got Chargers and 49ers. I think maybe a rematch. I think I'm right about that. Not 100% sure, but those two teams are going to match up once again. I just think the 49ers are going to prove. I think he's been listening to the shows from time to time, and he's like, I'll prove to them that I don't give up after winning the first championship. I think he's going to win him another one here. They just feel so dominant whenever it comes to the playoffs. One of those teams that you can make zero mistakes with. And that is such a high-pressure game where you're constantly not trying to make a mistake, and it ends up leading to you making a mistake. I think the Chargers have played exceptionally well. They're going to be knocking off some big-time names, whereas the 49ers, because they're a 5 seed, have it slightly a bit easier depending on how some of these playoff games play off. And so I just see the Chargers being a little mentally wore out by the time they get there. And then there is an aura. Anytime you face some of the big dogs in this league, there's an aura about them. It heightens the anxiety. It heightens the stress. Every play call makes the palms slightly more wet and moist. And I just think that that's what happens when you get in these games. 49ers win OMFL Bowl number 110. We all yawn. We all fall asleep. We get bored because we're sick of seeing it. But until somebody stops him, that's probably what's going to happen. Who is going to be your OMFL 110 champion?
All right, so we've got the Condors facing off against the Cowboys. We got the Battle of the Seas here. In real life, the Condors do eat anything that dies, and so I think this is where I'm a Cowboys fan through and through. I think though that the Condors match up probably the best against Cowboys and what they do, and from watching both these guys play their games, I think that this game is going to ultimately end up with Condors defeating the Cowboys in the bowl game. It's going to be an entertaining one, though. This is going to be one of the more entertaining bowl games we've had this cycle. I think we're going to see a lot of good defensive plays. We're going to see a lot of good offensive plays. This game is going to come down to in the fourth quarter. The Condors are going to squeak out the victory 31-27 over the Cowboys, and I think that the MVP is going to be the Condors quarterback. I can't think of his name right now. I see his number, but I can't think of his name. Richardson, I think, is going to be the MVP of this game. He's going to have or something, one pick.
Birdman, we still miss you. Doesn't mean we can't miss you, brother. Just because you don't like us and don't want to hang out with it. We get it. You like your son better, but we still can miss you. Anyway, those are our way, way, way too early considerations for who makes it, because this rarely plays out that way. I mean, hopefully it does, but it just rarely plays out that way. Real quick, before we open up the OMFL mailbag, there was a couple of questions for you in here. I don't know why it just randomly stopped. This is the problem with multi-streaming for both YouTube Vertical and YouTube, is that the chatbot jumps between the two, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Mr. D. Wayne said, Maniac, what are the keys for you beating Colin today?
I have to get the running game going. I can't have what's happened the last few weeks. Obviously, it's no secret. How Bijan goes is how the Falcons go. I can't just throw it all on Parker Colt and let him be the John Elway of my team, or the Tony Romo, or whatever you want to, how you want to look at it. It just hasn't been that for me. since like the first season of the cycle, second season of the cycle. So the key is to get Bijan rolling, and then corral the Giants the best I can, his offense, because the wide receivers at any point can get loose and start taking over a game, and then he just spreads the ball around so good. So yeah, I've just got to play really solid, smart football. Sometimes I don't do that, so but that's my keys to victory.
Bronco Man, we're going to hold on to your question. So if you see a clock, we're going to come back to it next week, or maybe in one of our other shows if we do one before next week. I'm just short on time. Mr. Maniac's a little short on time, so I want to make sure that we save the time. Bill, I'll save the last portion of your questions. Any Madden 25 questions I'm saving. So Joker, Bronco Man, yours is sort of a Madden 25. And then Bill, your Madden 25 questions I will save. Bill does say, after using Neon Sports for a full cycle, what are your impressions of the stat tracking, draft information, and overall use of the website? I love it. I always fully believed in it. I love that it's an app. There's been a few things that, just I feel like it hasn't finished the cycle strong. The poor guy just got really busy in real life. He's got a lot of other businesses, and I think that's pulled him away a little bit. And then the Mac version of the app totally crashed, and it hasn't been fixed. I think that's out of his control. I wish those things were a little bit different. But overall, it works phenomenally. It's easy to use. It's easy to update. It's easy to get people in and out of it. And yeah, just when I compare the money that we spend, as much as I love Pappy and Daddy Leagues and big time friends, these are cool people that we've been allowed to support. It fell behind, and the product is just, in my opinion, superior here at Neon Sports. Thoughts, Mr. Maniac, running the Deuce and involving here in the OMFL with Neon Sports?
Yeah, the functionality, I think, of the app was tremendous. Being able to do the trades, guys could look at stats, you could post the schedules. I mean, it just so many different things, and guys had full access to the app at all times, not just the website like daily. I'm also like you. I wasn't really real familiar with Pappy, but Daddy Leagues was always one of my favorite sites to run leagues and stuff, even way before, because just, that was the cool thing. But unfortunately, just things didn't happen. For him to be able to kind of stay with the curve of things evolving like they have with the gaming community, and hopefully, maybe when that happens. But Neon Sports, I think, one of the things I like about it the most too is he's always asking feedback, and he does the best he can to actually update and bring things to app that just keeps it kind of fresh. So I'm looking forward to see what he does, and I don't know if he's going to have anything for NCAA or college football.
He said as long as they produce API, I think it is, then he'll definitely have something for NCAA as well.
So that should be interesting. And it'd be awesome to actually app players from the app. That'd be awesome.
Denbrew says, what are some changes, improvements that you'd like to see for the OMFL members for Madden 25 cycle? I think this is a good question for you as well, because you've seen guys in the Deuce, you've seen where they've struggled, where they needed to put themselves in a bit more. The Deuce is going through some changes. We got to figure out exactly how does that dance work? Where do people go if they don't play NCAA? We got a lot to figure out, but we will figure it out. Right off the top, I just think dedication. I know he's in the chat, or at least he was. I love Bill. I know he can rub people wrong with the scheduling stuff. And Bill, he wants us to go. I get it. But I love his passion, his dedication. Just like when I pull up, this work about his playoff updates. Like, who else is doing this? Like, he's telling us the record, the seeds, the division winners, what's locked in, who still has hopes. Like, he is just doing this. He's not just copy and pasting this from somewhere. And so having awesome. that kind of dedication, Birdman creating the highlights, Mr. D Money creating the highlights, league content. I think I've seen some things there from Tim, right? Making some articles for his team. You with you haven't done it in a bit, but oh man, what's your persona?
Tony Bono.
Tony Bono, right? The show, like any of that engagement is I'm all for it. Any of that extra stuff that I don't have to ask for, I don't have to create and then ask you to do it, or why are you doing it? Why'd you stop doing it? Just like that kind of stuff. I think if there is any disappointment, it comes from when guys just like, I don't know, just don't like each other. And so there's this weird tension that gets added to like, I get it. Not everybody's going to like everybody. It's just me. I don't like that extra tension. And number two, when people start doing stuff and then it just like goes away or it's hit and miss, it's just like, I just like to see dedication. Just do something that's manageable that you can dedicate yourself to. And so there was, like Cincy Burger and Big Hurt's show. Now I know Big Hurt got busy. I think clearly Cincy got busy and like life happens. I get it. Nate's going under a change. I will say it right now. Press Pass Live may have to change. Maniac and I are trying to talk to figure out a time that would change. Just in my brand new job that I started today, this may not be feasible as it was in my old job. I don't know yet, but I'm still working through some of those things. But anyway, especially this week, we may have to come on Sunday night because I got to go to Nashville all next week until Friday. So, Maniac, just think about that. Maybe we could do something Sunday night. Anyway, that's what I'd like to see. Dedication, do something cool, and just be nicer. I don't know, it's so simple and stupid to tell a bunch of adults, but it's like, I just wish people were nicer to each other.
Friends?
What do you want to see, Maniac?
I mean, my heart's in the same place. I mean, there's guys that really put effort out, and probably, and I'll speak to this, and it's probably to help Denver or whatever. But I think this last season, and again, like I said, I know there's guys that had jobs that way, but man, there was like. I remember seeing somewhere, I don't know where it was posted, but there was like over 90-something games, I think, that did not get played this whole entire season.
Nipples. I love him. He is my dude. And I know Nipples. He's not going to care. He's going to be like, I get it. If you want to let me go, cool. I'll go find somewhere else to play. And I'm like, that's not what I want. I just want you to play your games. But 90 games, my God.
Yeah, and so, I mean, that's just... But... I think with content, sometimes you don't even have to do like a whole lot. Just, I mean, if and maybe I'm even getting on myself because again, I haven't done Tono in a while. I'm not making excuses. I had a lot going on, but things are slowing down. And yes, we're going to have a little bit of off season. Probably going to see some Tony Bono stuff. Coming for the off season, like the top coaches of the OMFL. We did the all OMFL team last Madden. We're going to do that again this end of the cycle. So some of those things are going to come back. But sometimes it can just take like just an opportunity in the chat because some guys. If you look at their chat record, like they're only like at level 1 or 2 or whatever, like they only come to the
it's
chat.
So
to
easy
say,
to get more levels
I'm at
too.
50, yeah, I'm at 53, and that's the only thing they say the whole entire, pretty much the whole entire season or whatever, that they're just 53, So maybe post a little thing, alert, the just throwing out this team. Panthers make a big trade, and that can, put down the stats, what's coming, what's going. I mean, that's content. That's creating something that's happening. Like, and then we're talking about Neon Sports. They have the stuff there where you can put a header on there. You can make a little story and ship it out to the Discord, and it goes. And it's not that hard. It just takes a little time, a little effort. Anytime guys put any kind of effort with, no matter how small you think it is or how insignificant, if you put just a little bit into something that adds to it, it just makes everything so much better for guys, engaging. And then I'll throw one thing out there too. Quit making like the commission, the board, stuff. Quit making them have to make rules.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else. Yes, on that. And also quit making me set you on auto. Like, y'all grown men. Like, learn how to set yourself to auto.
Yeah, I mean, just stuff like that. You know, just if you know you're going on vacation or whatever, and you're posting it, if you got enough time to post it in Discord, just go on Madden, go to the screen where it shows all the owners and what teams they're on, and go to your name and scroll over there and put yourself. If you know you're going to be going probably at least 2 or 3 advances, just set yourself to auto. You know, 2 or 3 advances. Go ahead and have it set so that way, you know, you're not having to have a guy at 11 p.m. at night, you know, in the chat going, OMFL board, can you set this guy to auto?
It's the
This
worst.
is the only time I can play. Can you somebody help? You know, but again, like on the gameplay and stuff, if you start noticing something and you're doing it over and over and over, and it's working like at a high rate, you know, just, I'm not saying don't do it, but lay off of it a little bit. You know, don't just abuse it. You know, just it's in the game. You're probably not gonna be able to take it out. But if you're throwing, you know, 90% of your passes is just this one route or whatever, yeah, you probably need to lay off on it. Or if you're only running this type of a run play or whatever, probably need to lay off of it. I don't know. Some of that stuff like that kind of irks me a little bit. But it's part of life. You know, guys want to win. I'm not no different. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I just want to lose. But, you know, win with integrity and lose with integrity. That's just kind of.
Yep. Tim's last question. Then we got to get you off to the Giants, and I got to get off to a workout and a shower. Hopefully I got hot water. That's the work that was being done. I don't know if any of you had to replace a water tank anytime soon, but I just spent $3,000 on one, but wasn't expecting to spend that today. Yeah, that's going to hurt for a long time. Anyway, now that rant's out of me, a most improved owner. I think there's a lot of guys that you could talk about. I'll run through a couple of mine. I'll try not to touch on all of them because I'm going to leave you some out there. I think you got to look at Lost Sniper. He has improved. I know he hasn't made the runs he wanted to, but he has played much better this entire Madden cycle. I won't count Cincyberg, but what he has done in Pittsburgh has been better. Like, he won the last championship, so I don't know if you can count that, but he has really turned things around there in Pittsburgh. I think you got to talk about Kansas City and Sharks fan. He's played really good this entire Madden cycle. I know this last season got away from him, but he's played really, really well. It took Colin a bit, but I think he's turned some things around. I think everybody else are top dogs already. I would give a slight nod to Tim himself. I think he has played better since taking over a really good team that our buddy left us. I always want to say 00. 00 ain't been here in a long time. Trey is the name that I was looking for, though. The guy I would pick, though, Desperados / Browns and Little Koch. I mean, he has just been right there every single season this Madden cycle. Much, much better this entire cycle after coming off a really solid last cycle with his Bengals. But the cycle before when he had the Browns, that cycle, because him and Denver trade every Madden, or at least I think that's what they do. He did not have the season that he wanted. So I would give the nod to Little Koch.
Yeah, I again, like you said, there's a lot of guys. I kind of went blank for a second because I was looking at something and I didn't hear all the names that you said. But one guy also from the AFC West is Jay Bowles with the Raiders. He's had actually a pretty good cycle. He hasn't really competed in playoff games, but he's been on the cusp like pretty much every season that I can remember so far this Madden, and he's put together some really good seasons, even though it hasn't ended in him in playoff glory, or whatever for the Raiders each season. But he's actually been in the thick of things. Again, you talked about the Chiefs. Shocks fan, the first 3 or 4 seasons, man, he was up there and in the top of the league with some of the big dogs, competing with the big dogs and stuff. And yeah, I know he's at 2-15 this season. Kind of hit a rough patch, but man, he has been really consistent. And then you just talked about him getting to take over his favorite team now, and actually putting together a winning season. I think that's probably the first time Tim has actually had a winning season, maybe ever in the OMFL. I don't know, but he's really put things together with the Lions. I think overall this cycle, though, I think, and Kev with the Bucks, I know he's had a bad season, but consistently, maybe compared to some of the previous seasons I've seen Kev has really been a different level this Madden, I think, than I've seen him. So I think overall, I'm going to give the nod to him, and not just because he's in the division I'm in, but I think from what I've seen in previous seasons, he's had some good ones up and down, but I think he's just been way more consistent this Madden across the board. I think obviously his quarterback, the type of quarterback that he had, helped that. But he's played really well, I think, this whole entire cycle. So from the body of work, I think overall, I would give the nod to Kev as the overall most improved when I've seen this Madden to what he's done.
Might be the only other guy that's more depressing than you to listen talk about his own team and how he plays. Bill, Bronco Man, Joker, I will answer these questions. I will do a stream just on Madden 25. I'll see if Maniac's got some time later this week to come and do that. I can't show anything, but we could talk about it. So I plan on doing that, and we will have a show on Sunday night for Press Pass Live before I go to Nashville to sort of update where we are, update sort of where what's going on, and then when I come back, we'll do another one. So lots more coming up. Mr. Maniac, we need to get you off to the Giants game. Give us one final thought.
Bittersweet. I'm sad to see the Madden end, but I'm also excited to see the Madden cycle end because this has been one of the most up and down Maddens. I don't know. It just seems like it just never really materialized like what we thought we were going to have this Madden. So hope, fingers crossed, next Madden 25 is going to be the one. But I'm also excited for the college football. We just had our team draft. Already had some messages from a couple other guys wanting a shot to get in, so we're probably going to look at a 32-man college dynasty. So again, like you said, the Deuce is moving over to become the Deuce dynasty of the grown folks community, and excited about that. And we just kind of talked about, but I'm just going to kind of throw this out there. The team builder for the college football and for Madden that they've announced, I think is going to be kind of a cool undercard thing for the game and for us, just for content things that we could. I think the things we can do with that are probably limitless. So I'm probably going to make my wife more upset at me come this next cycle.
Yeah, I'm excited about NCAA. I think it is a super engaging game. Can't wait to sort of see. You and I have got a lot to work out of, like, usually new members went straight to the Deuce, and then as spots open up, Maniac would tell me who's there. That won't quite work the same, and so we will probably have to create a waiting list for us. And if they play in the Deuce in the NCAA league, they get priority. If they don't, then they'll just sort of, anyway, a lot to figure out. we're going to do our best. I don't know that it would be fully possible, but we're going to do our best to sort of match rules as much as we can so that if you play them both, you don't have to remember completely radically different rules. So more to come for Madden 25. Matter of fact, put your questions in the mailbag so I can come and answer any of those as I'm playing, as I'm streaming. But I can't wait to see how the Deuce and the OMFL sort of live together moving forward and how we can best support each other, because I think anytime you have two really good leagues going, it's going to be great. Also, the Team Builder opens up the door to do OMFL Custom, which we haven't had in 15, 16 years. OMFL Custom was a fully custom league, random draft, random Madden players, fully customized teams. It was a ton of fun. I may also, I doubt it, I don't know with this new job, but like I'd love to see some smaller NCAA leagues start where you're starting with not the top dogs, but doing some rebuilds. I'll probably do an offline NCAA franchise that I could stream whenever I get time to time, building up a small squad. Those are always fun. So lots of really fun things. We've got some new battle royales coming out. Maniac and Pooty and I are all trying to do some more news segments. And so as NCAA news for Dynasty comes out, as Madden news for CFM comes out, we'll do news sections. And then as Battle Royale news drops, Pooty and I will be back to do some Battle Royale news. So lots of really new, good stuff. And I need to decompress and get ready for church. Maniac's got to go and win against the New York Giants. So tune in. Lots of games are already starting or about to start here very, very soon. Bengals and Desperados, Falcons and Giants. So go tune into those, give those a watch, and then any games that I can call, I will make sure to do that. Maniac, thank you for your time today. Guys, thanks for hanging out. Make sure you hit that like button. Give us a like. Dwight, good to see you in the vertical stream. Appreciate you. Guys, we'll see you on the next one. I love you. You matter, all right? And those around you, take care of yourselves. Take care of those around you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Deuces.
Smash that like and subscribe.